Alright, hello everyone, this is Miss Turner, and it's been a minute. It's been a little bit since I've talked to you guys, but welcome to the second 9 weeks of school. We are going to get into adding integers today, so we're going to go through 2 lessons today. Remember, integers are whole numbers and their opposites, including 0. So, for example, the numbers 2 and -2 are integers. The numbers 3, -3, -4, -6, and -8. Those are all considered integers. Whole numbers are 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are also considered integers because, again, integers are whole numbers and their opposites, including 0. So that means 0 is also an integer. So what we're going to do now is add integers with the same sign. So before you got to this video, there's a link for you to go to Clever, to go to Braining Camp, so you could get the 2 color counters that we're going to be using. But before we do that, let's do some vocabulary. So use the checkmark words to fill in the ovals on the graphic. You may put more than one word in each oval. So in my rectangular oval thing, I have understanding integers, and then I have 3 blank ovals, and then I have 50, -50, and then on my last one I have -50 and 50. So I'm gonna look at my checkmark numbers, or not my checkmark words, and see what they are. So they're negative number, opposites, positive number, and a whole number. So well, I know the middle oval, -50, so that's a negative number. 50, well, that's a whole number, and it's a positive number. Well, the one that has -50 and 50 in it, well, those are opposites because those are integers. They're also negative numbers, and I see a positive number. I also see a whole number because 50 is considered a whole number. Okay. Understanding vocabulary. So it says complete the sentences using the preview words. So my preview words are here. I have absolute value, which we already know what that means. I have additive inverse, expression, and model. So the first one says the blank of a number gives its distance from 0. Well, we know that that is absolute value. So the absolute value of a number gives its distance from 0. Number 2 says the sum of a number and its blank is 0. The sum of a number and its expression is 0? No, that doesn't make sense. The sum of a number and its model is 0? No, that doesn't make sense. So then the only thing that can fit is additive inverse. And if you don't know what that means, that's okay. We are going to be learning about it. So the additive, inverse, or the sum of a number and its additive inverse is 0. Okay, so we're going to unpack the teaks. The teak we are working on is 6.3c, and that's represent integer operations with concrete models and connect the actions within models to standardized algorithms. So we're going to learn that the additive inverse is the opposite of a number. So what it means to you. You will learn how to use models to add and subtract integers with the same sign and with different signs. So one model we're going to be using is a 2 color counter, and another model we'll be using is the number line. Okay. So let's get started. Now for you, what you can use to help you with the 2 color counters, again, you're going to be going to the Clever, so you can go to Brain and Camp. I'm going to put a video on how to do that, but this is what your screen's going to look like. I just pressed down here, I'm sorry, I pressed here to get my colors, and then, oops, to write, I press either the marker or the highlight, and then this is to erase. Okay, but like I said, I'll have a video. So it says modeling the sum of integers with the same sign. You can use color counters to add positive integers and to add negative integers. So for us, a yellow or a gold color, that's going to equal a positive 1, and a red is going to equal negative 1. So it says model with 2 color counters, plus 4. So I'm going to, or they have 3 positive counters, because again, one yellow counter is considered positive 1. So that's 1 plus 1 plus 1. I know that you probably get it, but I just want to put it out there. Okay, so 3 positive counters, 4 positive counters. And now we're asking, how many counters are there in total? So 3 plus 4 is 7. What is the sum and how did you find it? Well, the sum so I have 5 negative counters, because remember, 1 red chip equals negative 1. So I have 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 5. And then I have another negative 3 counters. So how many counters are there in total? There are 8. Since the counters are negative integers, what is the sum? Negative 8. What does the color of each row of counters represent? Negative 1. So that negative sign is so important. Negative 8. It is not just 8. It is negative 8. Okay, look at explore activity number 2. So it says adding on a number line. Just as you can add positive numbers on a number line, you can add negative integers. The temperature was 2 degrees Fahrenheit below 0. The temperature drops by 5 degrees. What is the temperature now? So what is the initial temperature written as an integer? So like it said, it is 2 degrees below 0. So let's look at my number line. Find 0 in the middle. Now 2 degrees below. So that's 1 degree, 2. So written as an integer, I would say negative 2 and then the degree symbol. Mark the initial temperature on the number line. So I'm going to use the color purple, whatever color it is. I'm going to mark that number negative 2. Then it says then it says C. A drop in temperature of 5 degrees is like adding negative 5 to the temperature. Count on the number line to find the final temperature. Mark the temperature now on the number line. So I need to go down 5 because it dropped by 5 degrees. So I'm going to go down 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm here. And this number is represented by, okay, so now I'm here. So I went from negative 2 and I dropped 5 plus negative 5 degrees. So now I have negative 2 plus negative 5. And on my number line, this number is represented by negative 7 because what whole number is, what integer is in between negative 6 and negative 8? Negative 7. So it's a whole integer. It's an integer. Integers, remember, are whole numbers. They don't have any decimals or fractions. So then it says D. What is the temperature written as an integer? As an integer, -7. So the temperature is 7 degrees below, because we're going down, we're going below 0. Okay, so this is, you probably know that this is a thermometer, so it's just like a number line. Instead of it being a thermometer, you're going to see a number line. And remember, when you cross a vertical number line and a horizontal line, you get the coordinate plane. Alright, so we're going to keep modeling, and it says find each sum. -5 plus -1. So A says how many counters are there? I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 counters. Do the counters represent positive or negative numbers? Well, because they're red, we're going to represent negative. So C is, what is -5 plus -1? Well, there's 6 of them total. Let me write this in. There's 6 of them total, and the red represents negative. Okay, let's do this for this one. 2 is -2 plus -7. How many counters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 counters. And do the counters represent positive or negative numbers? Because they're red, they represent negative numbers. So what is -2 plus -7? Well, there is 9 counters and they're red, so my answer is negative. Okay, so counters pretty much you can use for same signs. Now on the number line, it's going to look a little bit different since this is horizontal and not vertical. So I'm going to show you a few examples. So what you have to do is read your problem first. I have -5 plus -2. So first I'm going to start at 0 and go to my first number. My first number is -5, so I'm going to start here. This is my start. And I want to add 2. So I'm going to be going in the direction of negative numbers, and I'm going to 2. And when I stop, I get here because I added 2. So 1, 2. And it stops at -7. Okay, one more time. -1 plus -3 equals. I'm going to start at 0 and I'm going to go to -1. This is my starting point, and then I'm adding 3. So I'm going to count to -3, or I'm going to count 3 times going towards the negative numbers to the left. So 1, 2, 3. It stops here. -4. So my sum is -4. Okay, so that's adding integers with the same sign. Now let's add integers with different signs. This is where it's going to get a little bit more complicated. So how do you add integers with different signs? Well, Explore Activity 1 says adding on a number line. To find the sum of integers with the same sign, such as 3 plus 2, you can start at 3 and move 2 units in the positive direction. Or to find the sum of integers with different signs, such as 3 plus -2, you can start at 3 and move -2 or 2 units in the negative direction. Okay, so we're going to model that on the number line. Okay, it says model each sum on a number line. A, model 4 plus -3. So start at 4. And we're going to go 3 units to the left, or in the negative direction. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 2, 3. Stop right here. My answer is 1. Okay, B. We're going to model that. So start at, oopsies. B is model -7 plus 5. Start at -7 because you take the first number in the addition or the expression, and you're going to move 5 units. Since it's positive, we're going to be going to the right or in the positive direction. Okay, so let's model that on the number line. So I'm going to start at -7 and I'm going to move 5 units to the right. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where I stop. So my sum is -2. Okay. Now it says model 6 plus -6. So start at -6. Oh, I'm sorry, start at 6. Move 6 units to the left or in the negative direction. So let's model it. We're going to start at 6 and we're going to move 6 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we end up at 0. So we know that a whole number and its opposite, when adding together, my answer will be 0. So predict the sum of -2 plus 2. Explain your prediction and check it using the number line. Well, these numbers are opposites. So I would think that I predict the sum will be 0. So I'm going to start at -2. Oopsies. And since I'm adding a +2, I'm going to be going right in the positive direction. So 1, 2. And yep, I ended at 0. Alright, so hello everyone, this is Miss Turner and I wanted to do a few more examples with you guys on braining camp. So we're going to be adding integers with models. So the first one I want to look at is -2 plus 4. So to represent that with my 2 color counters, I'm going to represent first my 2 negatives. So I'm going to select 1 counter, 1, 2. Then I'm going to put in 4 positive counters. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then from here I can make my 0 pairs. These cancel each other, these cancel each other. Because remember, a positive or any negative number plus its opposite from the positive one is 0. That's the additive inverse. So then I'm left with 2 positive yellow counters. So my answer will be, or my sum will be 2. B. Let's do -9 plus 3. So I'm going to have my and then my 3 positive. 1, 2, 3. Okay, here again I'm going to take and form my 0 pairs and remove them with 0, close with 0 pair. I'm left with 6 6 negative or 6 red counters, so my sum is -6. Okay, then I have C. I have -4 plus 6. Alright, so I'm going to represent them. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to add. Now I'm going to make my 0 pairs and remove them. 1, that's a 0 pair, that's a 0 pair, it's a 0 pair. And I'm left with 2 positive counters. So my sum is a +2. That is with the 2 color counters, the models. Now I'm going to show you the number line. Now I'm going to show you adding integers using the number line. So I'm going to have -5 plus 4. So I'm going to start at -5, and then because my 4 is positive, I'm going to be going to the right. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and my answer for my sum is -1. Okay, so now I'm going to look at this bottom one. It says 4 plus -4. So I'm going to start at 4. And since my answer, or my next number is negative, I'm going to be going left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. My answer leads me to 0. And remember, since this is a whole number, a positive integer plus its opposite, I know my answer is going to be 0. Okay. And then this last example, 3 plus -5. So I'm going to start at 3, and then since my number is negative, I'm going to be going to the left 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my sum is -2. If you have any questions, you can send me a message on Schoolology.